Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. I, 31 female, have been with my boyfriend, 37 male, for 8 months. He has 3 kids and is a single dad. We're on pretty good terms regarding almost everything. When it comes to money and spending, we would take turns to invite each other out weekly. We don't live together, obviously. Several times, he had me pay for his kids' purchases. I didn't make a big issue out of it for the sole reason that those purchases were relatively small. All I had to pay was $30 to $60. The other day, he called me while I was at work and sounded like he was in a hurry. He said he just found the gaming device he's been looking for so long and wanted to buy it for his oldest son. I asked what this has to do with me, and he told me he was short on money and needed $300. He asked me to lend him the $300 and I hesitated but agreed. He asked for my bank account information so he could pull the money, but I refused and told him to wait for me till I got there. He insisted and said he would handle it. All I had to do was just send him my bank account information after I ended the call with him. His insistence made me uncomfortable, so I still said no and told him to either wait or I won't pay. He got mad at me, saying he didn't get why I was acting like this. He got so loud I had to hang up. I found him sitting outside after I went home. He was waiting for me and was extremely upset. He asked why I didn't just send him the account information so he could pull the money we agreed on. I told him I don't feel comfortable letting anyone have my personal information, especially when it comes to finances. He got offended and said, "I'm not just anyone, I'm your effing partner." Then went on a rant about how he ended up not paying for the gaming device after looking for it for so long, and now his kid is mad at him and it's my fault. We had a fight then. He left and told me I'd better have an apology for him and his son next time I call his phone. I haven't called yet, but I feel like I acted stupidly and irrationally. I think I should have just given him the info he asked for. I don't know if I made the right decision. Update. Wow, so I've left this thread after the first hour but got back to hundreds of people engaging. Wow, I'm just amazed. And since many of you wanted to know what happened, I went to his place and talked to him and his oldest son, and it turns out that the gaming device thing was a lie. He wanted the money for something else, to pay for one of his buddy's car repairs. I was shocked when he confessed and said he had to lie and make it about his kid to get me to lend him the money. You can only imagine my reaction after this. I just blew up at him and left without giving him any chance to respond. He tried calling my phone, still trying, but I decided I want some space to think about what happened and really reevaluate our relationship. It's true that he had me pay for the kids in the past, but after what I found, I wouldn't put it past him that those $30 to $60 purchases weren't for the kids, as I haven't seen the stuff he said he bought for them. I'm in need of some space and quiet, though I'm busy with work, but I do my best to stay focused. I quite frankly am no longer sure if I could move past this. It's just so unsettling that he had no issue lying to me and using me for money like that. I love the kids, I adore them, but he's hurt me with what I did and I'm not sure I could come back from it. I might just be upset right now and will need time. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going to do a lot of thinking regarding this situation and see what happens. Sorry for the long text, but I wanted to let you know about the situation as a whole. Not the a-hole. And OP, please don't get back together with this guy. Not only did he lie to you and involve his kids, but he then got seriously angry when you wouldn't give him your account information. He got angry based on a lie that he told you. He cannot be trusted. The waiting outside your house and his anger are serious abuse red flags. He used his children to lie, and you gave good reason to believe the money you've given him previously wasn't for his kids. Essentially, he wanted to steal from you. Money which is given to someone based on a lie, to me, is stolen money. He knew you wouldn't give him the funds unless he lied, and he had no problem doing just that. You deserve someone you can trust. Now for some comments. Surprised he doesn't have red flag written in a Sharpie on his forehead. Not the a-hole OP. This is gaslighting, boundary pushing, manipulative behavior. Hell, there's tons of married couples that have separate accounts. Pretty bold of him to assume that after 8 months, he he would have access to yours. He sure sounds like a textbook example of an abuser. I mean, what you described to us is a textbook example of an attempt to financially abuse you. Literally demanded money. Literally demanded their way, not your way. F how you feel. All that was important was how he felt. He needed your money the way he wants to, not how you want to give it. Take your money and get the F out. This relationship is not going to go well if you stay in it. Not the a-hole all day. I'm curious why he thought you should pay for a gaming system or his friend's car repair. None of those things have anything to do with you. If you were out shopping and thought, oh wow, here is the Xbox little Timmy wanted, I think I'll get it for his birthday. That's one thing. But the whole boyfriend calling you to purchase an emergency gaming system or car repair is so bizarre to me. I am married with 3 kids. My husband makes about 10 times what I make and does pay for the majority of the kids' purchases. I would still never make a call like that. Please keep your banking information safe and reconsider this whole relationship. He seems shady and like he's using his kids to help financially abuse you. Story 2. I, 20 female, recently turned 20 and had a party to celebrate turning 20. It was a small gathering at my favorite sushi restaurant with only my immediate family and a few friends. Everything was going well until it came time for the presents. You see, in my family, there's this tradition that when the firstborn turns 20, they are given this pocket watch that was owned by my great-grandfather. When our country was still colonized by the British, he, my great-grandfather, was taken in by some missionaries and became a teacher. As a teacher, he was super instrumental to the community and partly funded the first black-owned school there. He became headmaster, and as thanks, the community chipped in to get him a pocket watch. When my grandfather turned 20, he was given the watch and it became a tradition. As per tradition, I was expecting to get the watch. I had even made an effort to hint how I wanted a watch for the whole year prior. Among the presents, I saw the small box and got excited, thinking it was the watch. The watch came in this wooden casing with a velvet lining inside, and it was about the same size as the box I saw. I made a deliberate choice to open that box last to make sure the night ended on a highlight. When it came time to opening the box, it was a watch, but a digital one. It was a good watch, to be honest, but it wasn't the watch. My dad was excited as he went on prattling about the features of the watch. It could count steps, connect to my phone via Bluetooth, control music, measure my heart rate, etc. While he was talking, I burst into tears and left the table running. My dad follows and asks why I was sad and said, I wanted the watch, the one that belonged to my great-grandfather. He said he wanted to give it to my younger brother, who is 12, since he is a boy. If he gives it to me, it will leave the family since I'll get married to a man and join his family. This came as a blow since I've always been closer to my dad than my brother was, and my brother isn't even interested in the watch like I have been my whole life. We got into an argument and it ended with him saying my immaturity over such a small matter is why he wouldn't have given the watch to me even if I was a boy. I left after he said that. That was 2 weeks ago, and we haven't spoken since. So am I the a-hole? Edit. It's always been the firstborn who got it, but the firstborns have always been men, since the tradition started. I'm the first female firstborn. I suppose I shouldn't have stormed out. I'm 20 now, after all. I was super overwhelmed by my feelings. I'm prone to tears, always have been, but I should have calmed myself, especially since it was a public space. OP, I actually think what your father did was cruel. He knew the family tradition and he knew that you were expecting to get the family heirloom. That's why he gave the replacement watch. Doing this in public without talking to you first puts pressure on you to smile and accept it, without causing a scene, and allows your father to avoid a difficult conversation. Well, your honesty pretty much blew up that plan. His explanation that you're not really a member of the family is very offensive. I would be upset too. Not the a-hole for sure. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. It obviously isn't a small matter, or your father wouldn't have been so desperate to bribe you with this other watch. Your father knew that you wanted the watch and knew that you would be disappointed. He is blaming you for your reaction to his own sexist behavior, instead of taking responsibility for that behavior. Not the a-hole. Your dad gave you a nice smartwatch as a replacement for the watch he knew you wanted. While I can see how some people might think you are crying over an Apple Watch, you were upset about not being a part of your family's tradition and being looked over for being a woman. I'm sure for any other occasion you would have been thrilled with this gift. Not the a-hole. What would dear old dad have done if he only had female children? Find a distant male cousin like it's the Victorian era? No, of course he wouldn't. Because this is not, in fact, the Victorian era. Please ask him though. I would love to see how he answers that. He is punishing you based on your gender and showing clear preferences for your brother based on his. Story 3. I, Caucasian 26 female, married Filipino 28 male in 2018. Everyone in my family is married to someone Caucasian. Literally no one in a mixed relationship. About 2 years ago, I met my husband and we've been in love ever since. My parents never approved of our relationship and gave me an ultimatum. If I didn't leave, they would kick me out and never speak to me again. There was not one reason to hate him because, number 1, they've never met him. Number 2, they didn't want to meet him at all. And 3, as soon as I mentioned he was Asian, they looked visibly upset. And my dad turned beet red. And since I didn't leave him, everyone in my family shunned me. For over 2 years, my family didn't talk to me and didn't even know if I was okay. I tried to call them and even visit, but they would never answer. After a while, I got tired of trying. Fast forward 2018. My husband proposed and we agreed on having a small wedding with just close family and friends. 80 people approximately. I invited my parents, siblings, and close family, but no one showed up. I was so heartbroken because I never got my parents' blessing, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Towards the end of 2018, I found out I'm pregnant with our first child, and we are so excited to be parents. I plan out a small baby shower, and I again invite my family, and no one shows up. My mom decides to phone me later that night to tell me that my child will never be accepted into their family and that I'm a disgrace. At this point, I'm fed up with them because they have so much hatred for their own grandson and he's just an innocent baby. A few weeks later, I give birth and no one in my family shows up to see him. But I didn't let them affect my happiness. Fast forward to this year, 2020, my son is 6 months old and he doesn't know who his aunts, uncles, cousins or grandparents are. He doesn't know any family besides my husband's. 2 nights ago, my mom called to meet her grandkid, but I immediately said no and didn't explain why. I'm afraid they might hurt my child to begin with and they never cared for him until now. So am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. There is no hallmark moment coming out of this. If you let them meet your baby, they will only proclaim how right they were and insult your baby.